Alright, again from worksheet 6 for unit 8. This is question 7 from the second block of questions. And you're asked, how wide must a strip be plowed around a square garden that is, move that out of the way, 20 meters on a side so that half the garden is plowed? So you have your garden here, and for whatever reason you decide that the garden's too big and you want to plow up half of it. So you're going to plow a strip around the garden of equal width around, and we'll plow this side. We'll try to make it the same width the whole way around. And when you're done plowing, only half the area of the garden is left. Well, we know the original garden is 20 meters, and it's square, so 20 meters on each side. So how wide of a strip did you take off going around? Well, we don't know what the width of the strip that you plowed is, but you can pick a letter. I'm going to say X here, just in this case. And it's the same going the whole way around. So you took your lawnmower, plow, whatever, you went around the whole garden. And you're done when you have half the garden left. So how do you find out how wide the strip has got to be? Well, let's look at what you know. You know that your total area, well, that's got to be 20 by 20. Or 400 meters square. That's of the garden before you started. And your new garden, your new area, has to be half of that, because we were told that here. So only half the garden is plowed. So your new area is, well, 400 divided by 2, 200 meters square. So if we look at what we have, what would the dimensions of the new garden be? Well, it was 20, but then you took a strip away here, and you took one away there. So on the inside, it should be 20 minus those two sections you took off. 20 minus 2x. And because it's square, it has to be the same on both sides. So for your new area, you know that 20 minus 2x, so that is the size of the garden on the inside. Again, you started with 20, and you took off a strip of x width here and x width here, so that makes your 2x. So that's one side. The other side will be the same because it's square. And that should equal 200. Okay, so let's solve this quadratic equation. And we know it's quadratic because you're going to have an x term. You're going to have an x term times an x term, which gives you x squared. So 20 times 20, 400. Take your 20, multiply it to your 2x over here. You get 40x. You finish with the 20, so move to your second term. Negative 2x times 20, negative 40x. And then here, negative times negative. Remember, that's going to give you a positive. And 2 times 2 is 4. X times x, x squared, equals 200. So let's simplify our left side here. You have 4x squared. I'm going to put my x squared term first. So that one's done. You have negative 40x and negative 40x, negative 80x, and you have 400. Now this 200 is over here by itself, so we're going to bring that over now in this step. So it should be a negative 200 equals 0. Then you're left with 4x squared minus 80x plus 200. Looking at this, you can see everything here should be divided by 4, or can be divided by 4. So I'll divide both sides by 4, and you do the both, because what you do to the left side of an equation, you do to the right side. So 4x squared divided by 4 is x squared. 80 divided by 4 is going to give you 20. Remember, it stays negative. We haven't affected that. And 20 divided by 4 should be 50. And then we'll try the sum and product again. So what are the factors of 50 that can add to give you 20? So you get 1 and 50. They won't give you 20. And it has to give us negative 20. 2 and 25. 5 and 10. And do we have anything there that's going to give us 20? Doesn't look like it. I think we've run out of options. So here you might need to use quadratic formula. So remember your quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus b squared, subtract 4ac all over 2a. So negative, or negative b, plus or minus b squared, subtract 4 times a times c, all over 2a negative and negative 20 is 20, plus or minus so here now we have negative 20 squared is 400 minus 4 times 50 is 200 all over 2. So 20 plus or minus square root of 200 all over 2. So 20 plus or minus, and we need the square root of 200. Which is 14.1 all over 2. So first answer, we'll use the plus. 20 plus 14 is 34.1, so 34.1 divided by 2, and you get 17.05. So we can say 17. Second answer, 20 subtract 14.1 divided by 2. So you get 5.9 divided by 2. 2.95. Now, which answer is correct? Both are positive, so you couldn't eliminate it. I mean, if one was negative, you could say, well, you can't have a negative length. So let's go back up here for a second, look at your question. Remember, story problems, everything in context. If you said the width here was 17, and that meant down here it's 17, well, 17 and 17 is 34. You only had 20 to begin with, so how could you have 20 meters and take 17 away from both sides? That wouldn't work. And again, just think about that here for a second. I mean, if you had a piece of board and it was 20 centimeters long and you were asked to cut off 17. So you went down to the workshop and you cut off 17 centimeters. Right there. That's gone. Well, how can you take 17 away from the other side? You only have 3 left, so that wouldn't work. So you reject this answer because it doesn't make sense in the context of the question. This could work. So if you had, again, 20, you could take, and we'll make our number easy to work with. Let's just say 3. You could take 3 from this side, 3 from that one. That's 6 in total. 3 and 3, 6. That leave you 14. Okay, that would work. So the width plowed is 2.95 meters.